just wanted to read a journal entry that I just wrote today. The ones who succeeded aren't the ones who got lucky, the ones who were born to succeed. They, actually, were the ones who stayed. The ones who, on the dark, lonely nights, when they had nothing, when they were no one, chose to keep going anyways. The ones who did what they had to do, even when they didn't want to. I'm gonna add this impromptu sentence. The ones who believed that they would eventually reach that place that they had dreamt of. The ones fueled by this borderline delusion every day to keep going. Even when life didn't reflect that, they kept going because they knew one day it would. The only thing separating you from your success is persistence. The persistence to move in the direction of your goals and of fulfillment each and every day. The borderline stubbornness in maintaining a lifestyle that makes you feel truly aligned, even when you don't want to. Even when you're out with friends and they're drinking or eating fried food or whatever it is, again, as part of your lifestyle. For me, that's staying sober, eating healthy. That's some parts of it. Even when the people around you are doing these things, the stubbornness to resist joining them and continuing down your path, your righteous path, right? Maintaining the lifestyle that makes you feel truly aligned to your best self, even when it's hard. Because I don't believe there's light at the end of the tunnel. I choose to believe that there's light in the tunnel. Because when you think about it, does that tunnel ever end? And if you're in a tunnel and there's light at the end of it, that means there's light shining through it. It's about perspective. And there also is no tunnel if you choose to see it that way. I know that my journey is endless, so I think, why should I box myself in a tiny tunnel instead of living in a grassy meadow? Maybe that's my journey. It's just how you choose to see things that shape your life. Each moment of your life shapes you into a version of you. It's your choices in those moments that decide what version of you is becoming. Don't give up, because doubt comes and goes like the wind if you release it. This is something I wanted to speak on, because one thing I've realized recently, and I do this often, I don't know why I do this, but I'll be on the train, right, on my commute to school, and I'll look at all the people around me. I'll read them, I'll read their emotions that they're portraying. I'll just look at them, not judge them, but just try and understand them. And I always come to the conclusion that every single person in this world simultaneously is trying to live their best life. And some people are misguided by one thing or the other. Other people are gunning towards that relentlessly every day, right? Everyone's life is different, but we're all reaching for something similar. We're all trying to live a life that we believe is complete, that we believe we're meant for. And some people put a lot of effort into the wrong things, right? But we're not here to talk about that. Because that's their story. Everyone's unique. Every single person has their own experiences that shaped where they are now. This is about persisting. This speaks to me, and I think this is a general statement that speaks to everyone. Persistence is what keeps you going. This is with my own life. Days get dull. Days get hard. Sometimes I look at things I used to indulge in and think, wow, I'd really like to have some of that. Like, when my roommate was talking about getting canes, I thought, man, it's been a while since I had canes. It sounds really yummy. But I had to, for better or for worse, for better, I had to choose. No, not gonna do that. I'm gonna have my fruit, because that's what I feel called to do. I think there's a certain delusion that, being aligned and chasing and grinding for your goals, right, and doing the hard things will be easy, because it's what you're meant to do. But for some reason or the other, I don't know, maybe it has to do with the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, who knows, right? I wasn't there. I'm just here. I was just born in this moment, and I'm taking what I'm getting. But it's hard. It's hard, and then it becomes easy. Like anything in life. New things start off hard, and then they become easier. And that's the point of persistence, is that so often in our life, things fall apart, on huge scales, on global scales, or you see this with global warming, or on little scales. We chase after that instant gratification, right? We chase after the easy things, because it's, let's speak on a global scale, it's easy to use fossil fuels, right? The Earth's resources are readily available for us to use. That doesn't mean it's the right thing to do, right? More often than not, the easy thing isn't the right thing to do. But we just are so caught up in instantaneous things, and this is a societal conversation, as a whole, fueled by the quick-moving world that we live in. But it's important to slow down. For your mental health, I think for your mental and spiritual health, it's important to slow down, to breathe, right? I'm getting sidetracked. Where was I? We chase after that instant hit, right? Of either dopamine or gratification, whatever it is. We want that, Even physically, you eat something because you want to get full, you want to have energy. But sometimes those aren't the healthiest options, and they end up making you hungrier, which makes you eat more, which makes you gain more weight. It's just science. And you have to delay that gratification. And that is the whole thing behind discipline. The whole struggle behind being persistent is that literally nothing is instant. Only now, and I'm not even in, I'm in probably the hardest stage of my life, right? But it feels easier because I've noticed how far discipline and persistence has gotten me, right? And it's just about doing it, even when it's hard. I think another thing that ties into this is doing something that takes a while, right? Again, discipline and persistence. If I do a handstand every day for a year, I'll probably be really good at doing a handstand at the end of the year. But some people are so thrown off by that timeline because guess what? They want it now. They want to be able to do the handstand now. Good caramelized onions take about an hour and a half, but people want them in 10 minutes, so they do quick hacks, they do shortcuts, but shortcut never truly wins you the race. If I'm running a mile on the track and I cut across half the field, if I cut across the field in the middle, like a track is a circle, if I go here, sure, I'll win the race, but I didn't run the mile, I think it's important for us to do the things that take a while because guess what? We're going to live that time anyways, God willing, right? If I do a handstand every day for a year, which is something I'm actually not doing. It's funny how I mentioned that. If I do a handstand every day for a year, whether I do it or not, that year is going to pass by. And I'm going to either end the year having made a lot of progress doing a handstand, or I'm not. And it just depends. What do you want to choose? You know? If it takes me 10 years to achieve my goal, am I going to spend those 10 years doing what it takes to achieve that goal? Or will I just let the 10 years pass by and at the end of it realize I didn't achieve my goal? You know? Choose the things that take time because, you know, I talk about food again. Those taste the best, right? Everyone loves birria tacos, right? Do you know how long it takes to make birria tacos? Probably on the later end of 4 hours. Because you got tough cuts of meat in a pot of water and liquid and seasonings and vegetables and aromatics. You know, and after 10 minutes, first of all, the meat's gonna be raw and just boiled and gray and yucky and disgusting. The flavors are still gonna just be floating around. They're getting there, but they're not really there. You have a pretty terrible stew of meat, right? The funny thing about that is that the 4 hours is gonna pass anyways, and if you let it pass and you do the things that it takes to make that braised meat, at the end of that, more often than not, if you follow the recipe and you do the right things, it's going to be delicious. And I'm realizing that each and every time, doing the thing that takes longer and is harder is always more rewarding. So do it.